No, just kidding.
Oh my goodness.
All right, we're going live in 5.
And we'll have like a 10-second buffer, so
Okay.
I'm going to actually, we're probably almost live, and I'm going to give you guys these, because then I'll be counting down right now.
This is really good.
All right. You guys ready?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Let's do a cheers. Cheers to, we're live at the studio by Feast It Forward. Cheers. I'm used to drinking wine, but today we're drinking our Healthy Kombucha, which is fine with me. I am so excited you guys are here.
I'm excited too. This will be fun.
This is very fun. So we have the twin chefs live here in our Monogram kitchen, and I'm very excited for you to be cooking up a Too Good Veggie Burger, right?
Yes, I'm really excited. I think this is a good time too, like in the springtime for this kind of recipe.
Healthy too.
Yeah, exactly.
Everybody's trying to get fit for the upcoming summer. And
Absolutely. And Lily and I are especially excited about this recipe because it was originally inspired because our mom just became vegetarian. And so
Mom is live in studio here
Yes.
too, so we're cooking up for her. Okay.
And you know, Lily and I, we love to have a healthy, balanced diet. We do eat meat, but we also like a lot of veggie-based things. But as our mom became vegetarian, you know, she was craving meat. And to help her stick with her vegetarianism, we have been experimenting a lot with different meat substitutes. And this took a lot of trial and error, but we finally found a recipe that really works for us. There were definitely a lot of failed veggie burgers before we came to this recipe, but right now it's in its perfect form.
Okay.
It's definitely
I
like
can't wait
too
to try
good.
it, 'cause
at the moment.
there's only one other veggie burger that I have like craved constantly, and so I guarantee this is going to be the winner. But I want to say it was funny watching you guys prep for this because I have two daughters. They're definitely not twins, but you guys were at each other a little bit. I can't wait for as my girls grow and having fun in the kitchen. And I think this is also fun for me because my show Family Style is about cooking in the kitchen and getting my girls to eat healthy and have fun together because it's family time. And you guys did that with your parents, and that's what kind of led you to where you are now.
Yeah, absolutely. Lily and I, when we were very young, like 3, 4, we would see our parents in the kitchen. They're amazing home cooks. Our dad loves to grill and bake, and my mom just makes amazing dinners. And we would just watch them all the time, and we kind of became obsessed with it. And we also loved the Food Network because Lily and I were extremely terrified, like abnormally terrified of cartoons. So we fell in love with the world of cooking, and it was like there was something new. Either our parents were cooking or on the television every single day, and that's why we still find it so exciting. And I think, like you said, we were sort of going back and forth, but like the bantering and the bickering, when we're cooking, kind of helps us, I feel, because you get to really like bounce ideas off of each other. It's good to like have a conversation with someone so that you can kind of experiment, but also have like feedback right there. So, Katie, could you start heating up the
Absolutely.
pan?
What do you guys want this on?
Just turn it on medium, and then we will be adding our oil. So the first thing to do is to saute together our parsnips, onions, and mushrooms. The mushrooms kind of give it that like meatier texture and flavor as well. The sort of base of the veggie burger is barley, which we think kind of adds that like bouncy texture that meat kind of has. I feel like, at least for me, the main reason why meat is like appealing is because of its texture. And a lot of the struggle that our mom was kind of going through was missing that sort of texture that feels...
And the richness of, you want something hearty.
Exactly.
Right?
That's why...
See what you just said? Exactly, at the same time.
Like the hearty, meaty flavor is kind of the reason why I think anyone eats meat at all.
Sure.
So we wanted to kind of take that essence and put it into our veggie burger. And we've made veggie burgers from different recipes in the past. And definitely when we started out with this recipe, we tried a couple different things. But from our original experimentation, we kept coming up with things that were more like veggie cakes. We had one that was really delicious, but it was more of like a root vegetable cake than it was really having the essence of a burger. So that's why I think this recipe really accomplishes what we were aiming to do, which is create something that does have the everything that people like about meat.
Awesome.
So we are just heating up the pan right now. I have all of our mushrooms. I didn't, if you were watching my cutting, I didn't focus a lot on the, the exact size. It's about 1/4 of an inch pieces, but they don't have to be perfect because we are pulsing them in a food processor a couple times. So you don't have to really focus on making them look, super beautiful. Just keep them in good pieces so that when they're in the food processor, they're nice and even. I think we can start sautéing them now. Just putting in our onions, and we didn't start with parsnips our first few times of trying to make a really good veggie burger. But we figured out that they kind of add this like they have flavor, but it's a lot more subtle, and they're good for the structure as well. So I think that it's good. We tried carrots a couple times, I'm pretty sure, and they were just, too much of that carrot flavor when you're really wanting to focus on more of a like a heartier,
Sure.
less of a veggie kind of flavor. So we are going to put those together with the mushrooms.
And we'll have
as well.
this recipe up on our site shortly. We'll have it on our blog site. And I think I also want to touch on your book that you launched in
Yes.
2014. And we met just a few years after that at the Napa Valley Film Festival. And Becky and I ran into you. You were doing a demo, and we're like, okay, we at some point have to do something together. So here we are. It's exciting for you guys to be here.
I know. I think it's so cool that we've evolved so much, but still love cooking too. That was a really fun time.
That was a very fun time.
Yeah. Before the stress of high school.
Yes.
As much.
Yeah, so I
would say turn it
obviously
up.
you're focused on your website, and that's newly launched, and you have your blog, which has a heavy presence. What does the future hold for you guys? You mentioned a little bit the other day.
Yes. So the future right now, Lily and I are having a lot of fun updating our blog. We post recipes almost constantly. And we've also been experimenting a little bit with YouTube. So we have our first few videos up there right now. But it's been a really great time. But my ultimate dream, in the culinary world, because I love food so much, would be to eventually own a restaurant. So that's hopefully on the horizon for me.
I'll be there to eat.
It's so inspiring because, getting older, we've met so many fantastic chefs over the years. People who have been willing to invite us into their kitchens, and it's been really fantastic, and that's what's really inspired me to want to have a restaurant rather than just being a restaurant chef or creating books. I think having my own restaurant would be pretty amazing.
You can put your mark on it. You can
Yes,
make your mark.
absolutely. See, Audrey's really sure about what she wants to do, and I'm still a little bit I don't know,
But that's okay. You're 17, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I did not have my life figured out when I was 17. I still don't. I mean, we evolve every day, so don't feel pressured to make the decision now.
So these will be in the pan for about 3 minutes, and then we will add our garlic and continue sautéing them.
Did you ever attempt adding beets to this to make some sort of, is that the one burger that I guarantee this is going to be number one, but the one veggie burger that I keep going to is this beet barley veggie burger.
Ooh.
And it's just, it kind of gives that rich texture. Beet is overpowering though, the carrots that you kind of exited from your initial attempt, but try some beets sometime.
Beets might be a good idea, yeah, and that sort of color as well.
Right.
For our burger, we had kind of the same idea. We did want to get some of that color in there, and we use soy sauce when we're mixing it all together. And then before we put them in the pan, we brush them with vegetarian Worcestershire sauce, which we actually discovered because of our mom.
I was going to say, you're very accommodating to your mom.
Yes, exactly.
She did birth you after all.
Yes,
so yes,
exactly. She's been our inspiration in this. I think we have 2 minutes but she's been our inspiration because, she did become vegetarian for health reasons. So she definitely still craved meat, kind of craved that texture. And we wanted to sort of help her in that. Sometimes when you have restrictions, it can kind of create more creativity,
Yeah.
because you really have to think outside the box.
Katie, have you heard of jackfruit?
I have heard of
Yes.
jackfruit. Yes.
So we've been experimenting a lot with jackfruit.
it's hard to get though.
We actually have found it in Asian markets,
Okay.
and also they do sell it canned. And
Oh.
the canned ones do work really well. We've been making crab cakes, obviously.
Right.
It's jackfruit, but it does have
Interesting.
like a really fantastic texture that really is like that. So it's been a lot of fun, and we've considered new things that we hadn't before because we're getting more into vegetarian cooking.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, when you're limited to certain proteins, you have your pork, you have your chicken, you have your beef, you have your lamb, and now you're having to
Yeah.
work with, from the ground up, fresh
Exactly.
vegetables and fruit.
So now we are going to add just a splash of water, help everything soften up, and then our garlic that's been minced. So we have a ton of spices to come, but our garlic's sort of our first like flavor addition.
Okay.
Most of the spices in this recipe are things that you would use usually on meat, especially if you're spicing up your burgers. Because also a big part of like eating meat is sort of the like spices associated with it. I would hope that most people aren't eating just like plain meat,
Plain burgers.
Sometimes you see people kind of just throw some chicken and stuff in the oven. But definitely, if you want to have a good experience, spices are key. So we wanted to definitely make this burger super flavorful because that is sort of, again, along with the texture, the spices used with meat are the reason a lot of people like it.
And a lot of meat substitutes that we've been trying out are like tofu based, and that's not always the best for flavor. You really have to manipulate it to get like a lot of flavor in there. So
Do you want to cook these down all the way, or are you
great.
going to leave the mushrooms a little bit firm, or are you going to saute it completely down?
Mostly cooked down
Okay.
because a lot of the texture comes from the barley, but they will still have a little bit of like a bite to them too. And then when they're in little pieces after they're pulsed, they will have a really good texture for a burger.
Katie, I just want to ask, because Lily and I, when we started cooking, it was very like we were always in our parents' way, like trying to get involved. Were your kids like that, or do you think you
No,
were?
I mean, I think that we have kind of an open house where I can see the TV and the sports playing at the same time, so I can watch the game and I can cook. And my kids are always right here on chairs because they're not tall enough. I have a 2- and a 5-year-old, and so they always, Mommy watch, Mommy watch. And so my 2-year-old, I mean, she was ripping cabbage open the other day for St. Patty's Day, and they're never in the way. They always want to be front and center. I mean, even if we have a cartoon or a kids movie on, they're bolting in the kitchen and
Oh,
cooking
that's
with me.
awesome.
And it kind of, speaking of, reminded me of the tools, the kids'
Oh,
tools that you
yeah,
guys have,
absolutely.
because my girls do have some tools that they use. They're not sharp objects, but I think this is a really neat thing to talk about and how you guys got started.
Yeah, so when we were getting started, we were really young, 3 and 4 years old. You want to be really careful when you're considering things that can be dangerous in the kitchen, knives and heat, etc. But I don't think that should stop kids from getting involved. This has to be like one of my favorite tools. But the more useful things for kids are definitely this egg slicer. I think we got this, I definitely think we got this one on Amazon, but we also had one back in the day. And this just gives your kids like a lot more opportunities to get involved, because anything like strawberries, eggs, obviously, soft cheeses, you can use this to slice them up. You get nice pieces, and you're, involving younger children who may not be ready to use a knife.
It's like a safe mandolin almost.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. A mandolin is very unsafe.
Yeah, not safe for
Yeah,
kids. Yeah.
don't let your kids use the mandolin. But
Definitely a better alternative. And then these
Okay.
are super fun. We still use these all the time. We mostly use these for chives, herbs, etc. But you can use these for a lot of different things if you're trying to get like a chiffonade. These are fantastic. So there's a lot of different things out there to help get younger kids involved, because I feel like that's when the love of food and cooking should really start. Because even if you have a passion for something else, maybe you don't want to be a chef, it's still really important to make your own meals at home, and it's an essential life skill, especially for like a healthy, active life. So that's why I think that these are some great options to get started earlier.
And when you fly the coop, you need to have the
Yes,
necessities
exactly.
to be able to cook for yourself.
Oh,
and
yeah.
You guys have established that.
Definitely, Audrey and I think we're lucky because when we go off to college, not too soon,
I know.
or not too close.
Far away, yeah.
But I'm lucky because a lot of kids leave the house and they never got to learn like really basic, important skills in the kitchen,
Sure.
which are so vital to like staying healthy, even spending less money, especially, you know. Young adults these days probably spend a lot of money on food that they could totally make at home.
Absolutely.
That would be easier and less expensive to make at home.
It's
So
starting to get there. Definitely just need a little bit more of the liquid to evaporate, but once there's a little bit less liquid in there, we'll be moving over
This is
and
what my girls do.
push
They
chocolate.
wouldn't stick their hands in the pan, but they start picking on them. Like,
Yeah.
especially when there's bacon. I call them bacon kleptos because they steal all the bacon in front of me.
when Audrey and I are, you know, at home cooking, like on a night, I'm snacking
Yeah.
throughout it.
Yeah.
And then sometimes we finish cooking and I'm like, I'm not
full.
that right.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm not that hungry anymore.
It's a part of the process, definitely.
Worst thing is when our older sister comes through the kitchen just casually,
Yeah. Okay,
and then
just
just starts like,
casually,
you know, picking at it, because she doesn't love cooking that much, but she definitely loves, you know, eating
Yeah.
our food. So I think these are almost done. Yeah, it's almost been about like 6 or 7 minutes. I think I'll just leave them here for just a couple minutes while I whisk together here, I'll put this back. Whisk together 2 eggs and our,
See, you do it the right way. She does the egg the right way. So
for sure.
Jacques taught me that. I did it on the side of the bowl, and he said, no, no, no.
Here, I can take
and He's
those.
like, never hit it on the sharp edge. Always do it on the flat surface.
Yeah, I think
learned that way.
definitely causes less like eggshell to get into the bowl. And just, it's also kind of satisfying because then it is like sort of a flat, you know, you don't have to worry about eggshell getting in there or anything. Oh, these look like great eggs, like really nice. But I'll use our fun octopus whisk.
Our favorite. We've had that
This
for
in
years,
here.
definitely.
So I've never seen soy sauce in the egg. I love that.
So,
Or that's the Worcestershire. That's the vegetarian Worcestershire. Okay.
The vegetarian Worcestershire is actually over here. And this stuff is definitely in any grocery store. But if you are having a hard time finding vegetarian Worcestershire, which we just brush on the patties once
Right.
we have them nice and formed. If you are having a hard time finding it, it is mostly composed of soy sauce. So you can also use that instead.
so these look great actually. I think we can take these and just turn this off.
Yeah, I think we're almost good to go.
So first, I think you want to put everything else that you need into your blender.
So here we have just some crushed up walnuts already. And in this recipe, definitely a big focus was protein. So for vegetarians, I've been doing quite a bit of research. But if you are a serious vegetarian, you do have to be a little bit proactive about things like protein to make sure you are getting enough of it in your daily diet without meat. And so for our mom who went from, eating a lot of meat to eating almost none, like protein is definitely super important. And this is very high in protein because of the mushrooms, the walnuts. Later we have hemp seeds and
So what did we just add in there? We had salt.
yes, okay.
Salt.
I got a little ahead of myself. We have ground black pepper, salt, dried basil, and garlic powder. And then finally we'll be adding in our paprika.
Gotcha.
So, like I said before, these are spices you would find on a lot of like different meats. Definitely the garlic powder and paprika is like classic for, especially beef. And then here I am going to take our parsnips, onions, and mushrooms and put them into the food processor.
And we, Breville is our official countertop sponsor, besides our appliances with Monogram, and they have the most amazing, quick, speedy products that are sharp as all get out, which you can tell when you just emulsify. Ding, 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 ding.
I know, this is like
Yeah.
really nice stuff. Like,
And speaking of the cooktop, induction is also a great idea if you have kids because it can be a little bit safer than an open flame.
Yeah.
So when we were younger, we had a little induction cooktop that we would use almost constantly. And so that's also a really good option, just to keep kids safe and also keep them involved. And if you're a parent, you know, I think you'll feel a lot better if you don't have your kids like running around open flames, etc.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
So Audrey is just going to emulsify this just a couple minutes, especially with a really strong food processor like this. You don't want to.
Yeah, we don't want to grind it up too
We don't
much.
want
No.
to turn it to mush.
Because
we're
yeah.
trying to get it
That we don't.
into smaller pieces.
Because you want that texture.
Katie, do you want to
Here.
maybe help me out with this? Sorry. Okay, awesome. Thank you. Okay. And then I'm just going to mix it up, and then we'll keep. Oh, thank you.
Here, I'll just-
Just want to make sure everything's even and, you know, the same texture, obviously.
Right, the
because,
bottom isn't ground up too much, is the top.
yeah, because obviously ground beef is all one texture.
Right.
So.
Food processors is also something that we utilized a lot when we were younger and less experienced in order to make things easier. And it's just more satisfying when you can participate more in the kitchen. That our parents were definitely very accommodating with that. You know, they were very willing to let us jump in and get involved.
I think some of that fear is one of the reasons why people don't learn to cook as much.
Right.
You know, parents want to make sure their kids are safe, which is obviously the #1 priority. But also to make sure that it doesn't get in the way of learning as well.
Well, I think that's the fun part, and what I'm discussing on my shows. It's getting the family together in the kitchen, and you're not only learning, but you're having fun together, and it's family time, and you know,
Right.
it's, instead of just sitting in front of the tube.
It's like playing and, you know, being curious, learning, but also just spending time with your family. That is also, family is important because you can actually donate to the Jace Foundation, which we are supporting.
Yeah.
The Jace Foundation helps families that have been separated emotionally or even physically come back together.
Sometimes if there's not enough liquid in there, it'll get stuck.
Okay, I think this looks good. So
Maybe just one more time, I think.
one more.
Yeah.
All right. And then we will mix that together with our balsamic and eggs. So this recipe isn't vegan because of the eggs. You can use substitute egg, but if you wanted to make it vegan, and then of course make sure that you're using vegan Worcestershire sauce or soy sauce because it's a fish sauce.
But let's just say you are not vegetarian and you're just trying to be a little healthier, maybe eat less red meat. You can just put in the Worcestershire, you know, and the eggs. Okay, I think this is, yeah, that's definitely looking
Good.
a lot
And
better.
you want some of those yummy chunks in there too. You don't want to.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, make sure definitely it has texture, you know. Sometimes when people make like veggie burgers, kind of, if you like over blend it, it definitely kind of has more of like a vegetable cake.
Right. A gooey texture.
Yeah, exactly. Which is definitely not what meat is like.
So we're
Sounds
just gonna
fabulous.
put this right in there. And this recipe is so easy. Even though it does have a couple components to make sure you're getting that nice texture and the flavor, compared to some other recipes that we tried out in our adventure to get here, I think this one definitely doesn't have too many components.
I was like, no, I want all of this.
I know. I'm like, okay, just get a little more out of there. But here, I will set this.
And
back
then
here.
next we are going to be adding our barley, and as we've already said, this is great for like the structural integrity of the patty in there. And then we also have our breadcrumbs.
We're using herb breadcrumbs because that adds a little bit more flavor as well. And then those can be store-bought or made. I really like the barley because it has protein as well. So that's also another healthy aspect, but it's mostly there for that texture.
And then also the hemp seeds. Hemp seeds are actually considered a nut, and so they have a lot of the same healthy aspects, a lot of omega-3 and protein as well.
I like that you added that because there's not many burgers I have run across that have that, and it's a nice texture, a nice bite, but a good health aspect too.
Some of Audrey and I's vegetarian friends, they mostly eat, things that are really on hand, like chips, French fries, apples, just really basic stuff. But to make sure that you are getting all of those nutrients in a well-balanced diet, you should be making sure that you have certain things on hand that have a lot of protein. Because of course there are many things that have protein that aren't meat, but it's just good to be aware to just make sure that you are getting that to be healthy.
Okay, so we are going to start forming
Great texture.
our
It's
patties
holding
now.
nicely.
Yeah, you can really tell that this is definitely looking even more like a burger
Absolutely.
than a sort of veggie
This guy.
cake.
Medium again? Or just-
Yeah. About medium high.
And then get
Thank you.
some
So you can make them as big or as small as you want. We did try to make cute little slider ones.
They were
and
adorable.
Little hearts.
And those turned out adorable. But for just like a home, dinner, you can make some pretty big ones as well, just depending on how much you would like to have.
Well, I didn't eat lunch specifically, so I could
Have
feast
some,
on your burgers. Yeah.
have some nice ones. Oh yeah, they're definitely filling. As filling as a burger would be.
Just trying to get these similar sized.
So
And are you using olive oil, or have you ever done grapeseed oil, which has a higher heat component?
yeah, we do use grapeseed oil at home a lot. Also olive oil. These aren't. You only cook them on each side for like 3 to 4 minutes,
Okay.
so it isn't for a long time. Our dad always tells us, don't have the heat up too high on your nice nonstick pans because that can hurt them. But we do have this on medium high because you want them to have a little bit of that like char that burgers get, for that flavor. You can also do these on a grill pan in the oven. We thought it would be nice to do it so that people could see here. But you can do them on a grill pan, on the stove, or a grill pan in the oven as well.
Boiling them also works really well.
You
So-
have
Okay.
options based on what you have at home, basically.
So here are 4 of the patties. I think I will fit 3 in the pan.
You don't want to overcrowd them. So
Yeah, we will see. Yeah, just to make it easier to flip them, depending on your size of the pan. This feels pretty good. So I can just...
Okay. So as I was talking
Oh,
about
right, okay.
a bit earlier,
Thank you.
our vegetarian Worcestershire sauce, this also helps with the color, adds to that, and then also more of that flavor traditionally associated with a burger. And then also we will be brushing it with a little bit of the grapeseed oil as well.
Thank you for remembering.
Of course.
You are
We're getting a
best
little bit
ever.
ahead of ourselves today, I would say.
That's a good thing about having a twin, though. Definitely helps
Yes.
in the kitchen because you have 2 people to sort of remember things.
In the
Better than
kitchen
all I do is
or
talk to myself. I'm like,
Yeah.
why did you do that? What? Yeah.
or every day we are always asking each other like, wait, what's due in English tomorrow? Or like, wait,
yeah.
wait, is that essay due tomorrow or is it due on Thursday? And so it's really great, actually. Just one of the many benefits of being a twin is that you have someone to hold you accountable and pay attention when you're not. Here, I'll
Here,
flip these guys over so you can get the other side.
Thank you. And then,
Yeah,
Yeah.
I bet it took a while to get the ingredients down to get that texture because it's not easy to get something rich like that that's
Yeah.
not going to fall apart.
Absolutely.
and of course, I also learned about this too, just because I'm interested in food, so I'm reading about it a lot. But they have created burgers now made out of like plant material
Right.
that are supposed to be
Beyond meat,
like
right?
almost identical. Yeah, the Beyond Burger. It seems really fascinating. I tried it actually in San Francisco, and it was delicious. But Audrey and I wanted to focus like less on something that you would buy at the store and something that you could like make with your family. Although I would be happy to try that as well. I think it's fun to sort of work with stuff that you like really see. I think it's so cool though, the like plant-based hemoglobin that they use. I think that's really fascinating.
This guy's good.
So we are just going to place these. I will take my glove off. But yeah, you want to get sort of like a nice sear on them.
And that takes 4 to 5 minutes, typically.
Make sure they're nice and hot. Should I do 3?
Yeah, I think you can do 4 in there.
Do 4?
Yeah.
Okay. Here, move that over.
Make those puppies happy.
And then when those guys get done cooking, we also have some toppings for our burgers.
I'll keep this.
A little arugula.
Yes, arugula, classic, of course. We also have some cheese here. Cheese, definitely. Our mom is a huge cheese fan, and even though she has been great with giving up
Is
meat,
that Havarti?
yes, this is. Even though she's been awesome with giving up meat and she's really dedicated to it now, cheese is definitely one of her favorite things. So we like to add it in there when we're trying out our new vegetarian recipes because we know for sure it's going to be something that she'll like. And also, again, it adds to our attempt to make something as close to a real burger as possible with all of the health benefits.
And why'd you go with Havarti?
I think it's just a good cheese in general for melting onto things. Even with when we just make normal burgers at home, it's a good choice. And it's a nice mild cheese.
Yep.
You could use like pepper jack or something else. But for sort of a classic burger, you know, it's good to go with those like a little bit
Mellow.
plain, but kind of like still delicious
And
cheeses.
cornichons, yes.
Yes.
Yes, of course.
So we also have our quick pickled onions, which take like no time at all.
Right.
And that recipe is also available. They're my favorite thing. Like
I could eat piles of pickled
Yes.
onions. Yeah, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's ridiculous how whenever they're in the fridge, they go very
Yeah.
quickly, and they're in the fridge very often because of how much we love them.
Our older sister doesn't love to cook much. I think we took all the cooking genes. But she does like to pickle a lot of things. She loves like pickling
Okay.
carrots.
She's a canning girl.
Yes.
Exactly. So sometimes we just tell her like, hey, Catherine, can you just do this really quick? And that can be fun too because you can even just keep the spices on hand, like mix them yourself. And then, you know, you don't have to worry about it. Throw it in there with whatever vinegars you're using. And it works out. So I think should I put them?
You can definitely check them.
Okay. Yeah, maybe
we'll
just
see.
check to see.
How they're looking. I am just going to go ahead and. That looks good.
That looks really good.
I'm just going to go ahead and dress our arugula. Definitely important. I feel like this is something that a lot of home cooks don't know. But whenever you don't want to just put dry salad on a burger, or I don't personally. So it's always good to just go in with some salt. I'm not sure where my pepper went, but if it were over here, definitely would put that in. And a little bit of olive oil just to spice it up so you don't just have some dry salad on your burger.
So if you look at these burgers, you can see they kind of do have that burger look, you know. And I think that they're really cute.
Thank you so much, Katie.
Definitely not trying to become like the perfect meat replacement. It's more like getting the essence, you know, kind of.
You thought I was over.
I know. I
Getting everything that people love about meat and then putting it into something that's a lot healthier and a lot more fun to make, in my
They're
opinion.
beautiful. They look great. I mean, I wouldn't know the difference.
I think that, you know, it's good to focus on instead of like what looks exactly like, you know, meat. Or even with other things that you want to make vegan or vegetarian, more trying to like figure out like what makes like meat, what makes certain meats, ground beef, chicken, anything, what makes it like enjoyable, you know? So we figured out it was kind of that like heartiness, the spices that you just use with meat as well.
And the texture is also.
And the texture.
So this too, I mean, having the right bun, having the right cheese, having anything pickled that elevates the burger itself, because then you're not focused on something that's bland and boring that you're missing.
Yeah.
And yeah, this alone.
That's true. I feel like the burger has been sort of perfected over time. You know, we know that we like, you know, everybody likes cheese, you know, lettuce, the classics on their burger. So it's good to just sort of, if you know that something works, maybe just use it to your advantage as well. when trying.
Cornichons are also something that go very fast in our
I could eat
household.
a whole can, whole jar.
We'll see
I'm gonna have to
these.
look for jackfruit though in a can. 'cause
Oh,
I
yeah.
Yeah,
didn't know that
We
was
were
a thing.
surprised too.
it's way less fickle to get it in a can because it's obviously not from around here. So if it's canned, you don't have to worry about like ripeness.
It's quite a lot easier to work with, and it works especially good for the crab cakes that we've been making.
I'm gonna have to try that recipe of yours, yeah.
I'm sure that if
Oh,
you're like
I have
eating
one now.
plain jackfruit, probably way better to have like fresh.
Right.
But if you're trying to make
Oh.
something, then
Cheese.
yeah. Oh yeah.
Queso.
Okay. So I forgot, but we're going to just melt some cheese onto our burgers, and depending on how much you want, you can just split it in half.
Oh, and then Katie, do you
Yeah.
have a lid nearby? Because that's usually the.
Yeah.
If not, that's all right. But usually that's the best way to get the cheese nice and
Cheese
melty.
nice and melty.
Oh, it looks like one's coming in. That's awesome. Okay.
Thank you. Here. Here.
So I think we have some people that might be live asking some questions. Do we have?
How can you make a veggie burger really moist to a similar hamburger?
Oh, I would say these do a really good job of getting that moisture. I think the egg is definitely a part of it, so that does provide a hurdle for any vegans out there. But I think there's definitely a lot of effective egg substitutes that you could put in there instead. But I think this one really, it's the moisture that comes from you put the water in when you're sautéing. It's the moisture naturally from the mushrooms that really just keeps it having that good texture, and you'll see when you try it.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty remarkable how the texture really captures that burger essence.
You want to have a good balance because, like we said before, some like veggie burgers are sort of like vegetable cakes. So you want to have the balance where it's not too moist, where it's that kind of texture, but definitely moist enough where it's not like kind of dry. Because I feel like most people don't like to eat dry burgers.
Yeah.
It's like it tastes kind of
It's
like
eating cardboard. No.
exactly
Definitely not what people are thinking when they're craving a burger.
I'm gonna turn that up a little bit, so it's gonna.
Yeah. We'll just keep it in there for a minute. Make sure the cheese is nice and melty. I see it's melting already,
This
so that's
kombucha
good.
is really good.
Isn't
I
it
know.
yummy?
Actually, seriously, this is delicious.
We're addicted to this stuff, yeah. And it's healthy, good. I mean, speaking of healthy, it's good for your gut. Nice probiotics and.
Oh yeah, we love kombucha at home. Definitely drink a lot of kombucha and yerba mate tea. That's like always in our house.
Constantly. We brew big batches of it.
Oh, fun.
and,
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe too much.
Maybe a little too much. We're 17, but our caffeine, we're pretty,
Right.
we're
Caffeine
pretty
addiction,
caffeinated.
yeah,
Yeah, the caffeine addiction is pretty.
So
you know,
while that's
serious.
finishing, for those of the,
Here.
Oh,
the guests
that's looking
watching
pretty
that
good.
want to go onto your website, they can see your blog, they can
Yes.
get recipes, they can, what else can they gather?
There are also some of our videos up there. Past appearances are also up there, and we're updating it all the time. So we also, on our blog, we do a lot of fun posts as well. I think our most recent one was some of our favorite cooking YouTubers who we're most inspired by.
Fun.
Yeah, so I do the blog a lot, and I just recently did a post, like Audrey said, about our favorite cooking YouTubers, because we've started to do YouTube videos, and I've always, after especially starting high school, out of the house a lot, but I still love watching cooking content, we used to watch on the TV. And there's a lot of great YouTubers, also people who do live stream stuff like this too. And I really love that because it feels really real and authentic. And that is really fun. One of my favorites is I think he changed his YouTube name to just Alex, but it used to be Alex French Guy Cooking. And I just love French culture, French food, and he just is very real about it. Talks about trial and error in cooking, which sometimes you don't get to see,
Right.
You don't really get to see little mistakes all the time. Okay, so we have our burgers right here. The cheese is nice and melted. Just going to put that on here. They look really nice.
They look beautiful.
And then, did you talk about the...
Oh, yeah, exactly. So right here we have our carrot ketchup, and this
I
stuff.
love that idea.
This stuff is awesome. You can pretty much ketchup anything that you would like, but I think this one really stands out. Definitely, I think it's better than just regular tomato ketchup, and it's really easy to make. So we also have that recipe.
Okay.
We gave it to you guys, and it's also on our website. So it's just really fun, really easy, and I like it a lot better than just traditional ketchup.
So here is our arugula on there too, and I will actually grab these pickled onions, put them on. And yeah, you can use arugula. We use a bunch of different lettuces. If you really want to go for that like classic, you know, we love these flavors. But if you want to go for the classic, oh sure. If you want to go for the classic, maybe even do like caramelized onions. You know, even I like kind of, we've tried it before with sort of the like classic, you know, just tomato.
Romaine or
Yeah, tomato ketchup. Along with tomatoes, even the like sort of In-N-Out style, like secret sauce. We're Californians, so definitely if you want to try to make it, you know.
Make it your own. What's really important here is this veggie burger because it really is, I think, true to meat. So whatever you would traditionally put on your burger, definitely. Do you want to grab me that plate, actually? Oh, sure. Yeah. This one's gotten...
And then I can grab our fries as well.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, tell me about the fries.
So we made these right before we started, but they are sweet potato fries
With turmeric, which is one of our favorite spices of all time.
Here, I'm gonna scoot this guy over a little
I
bit.
love sweet potatoes.
Right?
It's a great alternative.
And you can also make classic fries, but we like to put the turmeric on there just to give it that like spice flavor, you know. We definitely love flavor, so we try to incorporate it where usually you would have things that are more plain. So these are super delicious. We make them in the oven instead of frying them.
And so, what is this white sauce here?
Oh, so this is something that my mom is a big fan of. It's vegan mayonnaise.
Oh.
So when she was, you know, moving into vegetarianism, she was also looking to just improve health overall.
Am I?
Oh yeah,
Yes.
go ahead,
Okay.
go ahead. Yeah. And then
I think it's good.
Oh,
I would say it's pretty true to mayonnaise.
that's very French to dip. You know. Yeah.
yeah, vegan mayonnaise is one of those things that I've tried where it's like definitely a vegetarian or vegan replacement where it's like, yeah, you cannot tell that
The
it's different,
difference.
you know.
Yeah, that's no Miracle Whip. Sorry. Tasty.
Would you like to try
I would love to try it.
a burger?
I'm gonna.
That's a good
slice
idea.
into this.
Oh, go ahead. Yeah. Maybe we could get a cute cross section.
Yeah.
Put these over
In
here
fact,
too.
why don't we each have a little
Nice.
halvesy, happy halvesy.
Oh yeah, I forgot our cornichons. Here, this guy can get one. There.
Cute. All right. So
So would Mom dip in here or dip in here or what is?
She would have
No, she
definitely.
would just eat it. Okay.
she would have definitely put it in it.
Yeah.
Also,
I'll
I'm
try it without, and then I'm probably gonna.
I'm actually like one of the few foods that I'm not crazy about. There's only like I would say 3 is mayonnaise.
Oh yeah. That's so good.
right.
Definitely the good texture.
Oh, I was so hungry. I've been.
I know.
I'm like, I'm so hungry.
I'm gonna try a little of this.
Oh.
And I have to try that carrot ketchup. Oh yeah, this is wonderful. And the crispness of the onions, the nice acid. I like the bright arugula. It's very clean.
It's definitely like just a really good texture. Like, I'm so happy that we finally got to a texture where it's like ground beef, you know? But
Yeah.
using like whole.
I love meat, but this is really spectacular.
Yeah.
So yeah, we will have this up on the website for sure. I'm gonna eat. Yeah, like you better cook some more because I'm gonna eat like 3 of these.
I know. Whenever I eat this burger, it gets me thinking. Like, you know what? I could really be a vegetarian. Like,
You know,
definitely plausible for me.
That carrot ketchup is fabulous. So what's the ingredients?
Oh, so for the carrot ketchup, it's super simple. Carrots, you got some vinegar in there, clearly. Little bit of sweetness as well from brown sugar, I believe. Yeah, it's we just made this morning.
yeah. And it's just, It's really good to make like condiments yourself too. You know, that's another money-saving thing as well. Like people buy, you know, we bought these cornichons, but you can even make them yourself. Pickled onions, things like these, you know, people are so quick to buy them, but it can be like so simple just to make it at home too, like carrot ketchup. And it's, you know, almost more delicious because you have more control, can make it just how you like it. And yeah, it can be way less expensive because you're making it at home.
Very good. Cheers, guys.
Oh, cheers.
Cheers.
Definitely.
Cheers to Veggie Burgers and to Mom becoming a vegetarian, to the parents for raising fabulous,
Yes, absolutely.
very cool kids. And for all of you kids watching, you can do anything. You can be anything. You can be a chef, a cook. My girls will be in the kitchen with me next week here cooking. So we'll have to have you back. Maybe we'll do some actual produced and filmed, edited segments. So
Thank you so much.
come visit
Thank
the
you
live
so much for
studio
having
here at
us.
Feast It Forward. Come out and drink kombucha, wine, and come cook with us. So, all right.
Thank you so
Thanks,
much,
guys.
Katie.
Thank you so much.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.